Hello there and welcome to this what will probably be quite a quick black powder Napoleonic battle report in celebration of the fact that I've splashed out some cash and bought myself a brand new battle mat. Now I've got quite a decent collection of battle mats, mostly the mouse pad type material that you roll out and then you put your scenery on top. But then I've seen quite a few other guys doing battle reports with these cloth or fleece style battle mats where you can effectively mould the terrain underneath, which actually I do really like. I like the look of the fact that it's a bit more, I guess, cohesive in that respect. Although there's nothing wrong with what I've been doing, or if you put your scenery on top, it doesn't really matter, I guess. I just thought I'd try it out as a bit of a new experience. And really pleased with it. I mean, I've got to get my iron out. This is straight out of the packet, by the way, so quite fresh. So we have got a couple of packaging tram lines being fleece, which I need to iron out. So I'll be doing my shirts in the morning and my battle mat, which I'm sure my wife will be very amused at. But I would say I'm really pleased with the quality. I think the print is awesome. Really do like this kind of snowy winter feel. Nice matte finish as well. Really good details. And also being semi kind of winter, you can put your normal trees that I use down. It kind of blends in quite nicely with a bit of greenery in there. So yeah, basically I've just literally got some Napoleonic figures out of the boxes. Just got a very small French division here. Threw some buildings down. So we've got defended by a small unit of the KGL, King's German Legion, and a small unit of the 95th Rifles and an artillery battery, just defending that farmstead. So just going to basically a very quick game. This division is going to storm across there and try and assault that farmstead, and probably have some reinforcements coming on for the Allied British around turn 3 or something like that. So yeah, just a bit of a celebration of the new mat. So yeah, let's crack on and roll some dice and go to turn 1. Okay, so that was a pretty decent turn of movement for the French. So what we've got here in this brigade here, we've got the 54th, 1st and 2nd Battalions and the 1st Battalion and the 55th. Brigade Commander, this is the Commander-in-Chief, so he's attached to them at the moment. Didn't need a command re-roll, they got 2 moves up. And then for this brigade, we've got the 17th, 1st and 2nd Battalions, and then the 4th Léger, and a limbered, still limbered because they're facing the wrong way, battery of French line artillery and brigade commander, and again got 2 moves off, so fairly nice start for the French. So we'll head over to turn 1 for the Allied British. Probably a bit of shooting, I think, coming back. Okay, so over to the Allied British turn 1. So there is no movement but a bit of shooting. Just to confirm then, so we've got a detachment of a small unit of the 95th occupying this building block, so it's basically this farmhouse here and this bit here with this Royal Artillery battery, which is obviously firing out here. And then we've got the 2nd Light KGL, a small unit from there. Again, they're occupying this building block here, which is the stable block, basically. So I've put them there, but you can imagine they're kind of scattered through the various buildings. So the artillery can open fire up onto this unit here. They are at over half range, so it's long range, so it's just getting the 1 dice. It's -1 for being at long range, but also because they're shooting at attack column, they get +1. So it's going to be 1 dice hitting on a 4. That is a hit, and also a disorder. That's a pretty good start. And then the saving throw, because they're in attack column, they get a +1 for their morale, so it's a 3 normally to save. But then that's -1 because they're being shot by artillery at long range. So that's back to a 4. Which they don't make, so that's a casualty as well. So that's 1 casualty onto them. I'll put a marker in a second. And then over on this bit here, the King's German Legion are firing out of the stables. They're going to shoot at the artillery, which is unlimbered. Sorry, it's still limbered. So it's basically just 2 dice. You get 2 dice per facing. And there were 2 dice anyway because they're a small unit. So yeah, they're getting 2 shots up there on 4s. That is actually 2 hits. So I need to borrow that dice back. So 2 saves of 4+. No, so that is 2 casualties there. So they're actually shaken. Okay, that was a good start. Okay, it's worth just quick mention on ranges. So because I'm on a 6x4 table, all the ranges are halved. So these guys have got rifled muskets, which is 12 inches, so they were just in range. And this artillery is as well as the 95th, and the artillery is at 24 inches for max range as well. So that was a good start. Okay, so over to turn 2 for the French. Okay, so end of turn 2 movement for the French. So firstly over this brigade, this unit was disorders and couldn't move. So these 2 battalions have just moved up a couple of moves here. and the general's staying in tow with his brigade commander there, so just getting poised to assault. This brigade again inched forward a little bit. The commander here managed to rally off a casualty from that artillery, who managed to unlimber. As you can see, they've started to open fire against the defenders, so we'll come back for some French shooting. Okay, so French shooting. So the artillery here is within half range. They're getting 2 shots. They are shooting at a building, so they're not clear target. So that means they're hitting on 5s. So 2 shots on 5s. 1 hit. Now it is -2 to the morale save because they're at medium range. However, the building does offer a +2 morale save to their save, so it's actually back to 4. So 1 save of 4 required, which they do make. Okay, and then we've got the 2 French attack columns. They can get 1 shot. Oh no, I don't think they can they? No, there's no shooting attack columns. I'll just double check that and come back. Sorry, yes, of course they can. It's march columns that can't shoot, so they're okay. So they've got 1 dice each. Again, not clear targets, so we'll might as well roll them together. So it's 2 dice hitting on 5s. No, nothing for that. Okay, so that's the end of the shooting. So that's the end of turn 2 for the French. So back over to the Allied British. Okay, so Allied turn 2 is just some more shooting. So again, this Royal Artillery Battery is going to shoot at this column now, this battalion. Now they are in now, they're actually in medium range. There's 2 dice. And because they're shooting at a column again, getting +1. So this time it's going to be hitting on 3s, 2 dice hitting on 3s. So that's 2 hits, and it's going to be 2 saves of 6 required. It's 5 required because it's -2, but they get +1 morale. I did add these little markers just to remind me with attack columns. So 5s to save. No, so that is 2 casualties onto that front unit there. So French taking some pain on the way in, but also now the rifles are in range because they're within 12 inches now. They've got rifle muskets. These were out of range because these have got smooth bores, which is 9 inches, which is about here. So anyway, so these get 2 dice for this facing, and again these are going to be hitting on 4s again into this unit here. Yeah, because I think it's only get the bonus for artillery, isn't it? Yeah. So just 4s. Oh, another 2 hits, brilliant. And then 2 saves of 3 this time because it's just muskets, which they do make. Okay, so 2 casualties coming onto that unit, so a little bit of disruption coming in, and then we'll head over to the King's German Legion. Okay, so the KGL here was shooting at this unit here, so it's going to be 2 dice hitting on 4s. Now they do get to re-roll one of these because they have got the sharpshooter rule because they're light infantry, so re-roll that. No. Okay, so just the 1 hit and then the 1 save of 3. Oh no, so didn't make that. Okay, so that is a casualty despite being in an attack column. So that's some good news. Okay, so that's the end of turn 2 for the Allied British. So over to turn 3. I'm sure there's going to be some charges coming off very soon. Okay, so a bit of a mixed bag there for the French on turn 3 movement. So the 4th Leger charged in on initiative, took some closing fire and were disordered, but didn't get any more casualties. But unfortunately then the brigade commander failed to make a next order, so the other 2 battalions are stuck here, didn't manage to move up in support. So they are a little bit isolated for this turn. Of course the artillery can't fire now. And over this side, the commander managed to get the 2nd Battalion, 54th, to charge in. They didn't get any casualties from the 95th closing fire, but they did take a casualty from the artillery, which didn't shoot very well actually. I think got 2 1s out of the 3 dice from closing fire. So they did take 1 casualty from that. So they did test their morale because they took a casualty from closing fire from artillery, but managed to roll 11, so more than happy to be in combat. And then managed to move the 1st Battalion 55th up in support, but then failed to get these guys, well, sorry, they could only make 1 move, so they're not close enough to be in support at this stage. Okay, so we've got some hand-to-hand combat to come, so I'll come back for that. Okay, so building combat. So the French get 6 attacks, hand-to-hand dice. Because they charged in, they get +1 to their roll, but because they're disordered, it's back to 4. So 6 dice hitting on 4s. And then the King's German Legion, who are occupying this block, you get 2 hand-to-hand facing dice, so for the face, so 2 dice. But because they're skirmishers, it has -1 in close combat, so they're hitting on 5s. So we'll do the French first, so 6 dice hitting on 4s. That's pretty good going, so that is 4 hits. Now 6s don't count as disorder in hand-to-hand, so it's 4 hits. And then the King's German Legion, 2 dice hitting on 5s. Just the 1 for the King's German Legion. So we'll do the French save first. It's going to be 3+ again for the morale bonus. No, so that is 1 casualty for the French, and then 4 dice for the British. I haven't got any more red dice, so we'll do these. Now they do get a +2 combat, again, +2 morale save for being in the building. So these will be saving on 2s. So they save. So actually the French lose that combat as well because they've taken a casualty, and also because they're in the building, they get a +2 combat result modifier. There's no supports for the French, so the French lose that. So they will be testing. They are shaken as well because they've got that 3rd casualty, and they are disordered. So it's going to be 2 dice -1. Yep, 2 dice -1. So a 6 becomes a 5. So they will be retiring and become disordered. So I'll do that, and then we'll come across for the next one. Okay, so as you can see, that unit is now retired and disordered. So we've got the 2nd 54th now fighting against the 95th. So similar, so they've got 6 hand-to-hand dice. They're not disordered, so they're going to be hitting on 3s. And again, because these are skirmishers, they're going to be hitting on 5s, and again 2 dice per facing. So although the artillery is there, you only get maximum 2. So we'll do 6 dice, that's hitting on 3s. Okay, that's not bad, just 4 again. And again 2 dice for the 95th and the artillery. No, so no hits for the British. So they've got 4 saves of, again, 2+ because they're in a building, which they make. So there are no casualties on either side from that combat. Again, these get +2 combat modifier for being in the building. These have just got the 1 support. So the 95th win that combat, and these will be testing. There's no modifiers for it, so it's just a straightforward roll. Basically need a 7 or more, which they get. So the 7 means they hold in place. So that is, so that's the end of turn 3 for the Allied British as well. Sorry, for the French, sorry. So we're over to turn 3 for the Allied British. Okay, so turn 3 for the Allied British. So the 95th is still engaged in combat there. So now the KGL have disengaged from that combat. They can shoot back. So they're going to shoot now at this column here, this battalion that's disordered and shaken. So again, 2 dice hitting on 4s. Re-rolling 1 for sharpshooter, which they do need. It's in the tray, sorry. No, so no hits for the KGL. It's a bit of a shame. Okay, so straight back over to the combat there. Okay, so because the 95th won their last combat, they do get +1 to their rolls now. So they're now hitting on 4s, which is good news. And the French are also hitting on 4s. We'll do the 95th first. So 2 dice hitting on 4s. That is 2 hits, well done. And then the French get the 6 attacks again on 4s. Wow, that is a terrible roll. The French are rocking here. Okay, so that's interesting. So let's roll for casualties. Now, because they've, the way the morale bonus works for attack columns, after the first attack, if you haven't broken through, you lose that morale bonus. So they are actually now saving on 4s. Okay, just the 1. So there's 1 casualty there. Okay. So, so they've lost the combat. They're not shaken and they're not disordered, so it's just going to be a roll again. So again, we need that 7, which they do make. So they're a bit of a casualty, but they're still holding in there. Okay, so we're going to move over to turn 4 for the French. Okay, not the greatest of turn for the French. So this commander here, because these guys were shaken, didn't want to charge them in because obviously that would be a problem. So tried to charge in the 1st Battalion, 17th. However, he blundered. Fortunately, he rolled a 5, which basically means they made 1 move forward. They weren't. You can actually charge under those conditions, but unfortunately, they weren't close enough to get a charge in. So they basically just limped forward towards the King's German Legion, and obviously because he blundered, there's no more. He couldn't make any further orders. He was hoping to rally off one of these guys, but it does free up the shooting, so at least they got some shooting this turn. The generals come across to just give him a hand because obviously he needs a bit of support. And then over this side, this commander managed to bring up this 1st Battalion of the 54th, just in support of their sister battalion there. So they've now got full support for that attack, so let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, so a bit of shooting to do, so we'll come back for that. Right, so shooting for the French, so this artillery is going to open up again. So again, 2 shots because they're at medium range on 5s because they're not a clear target. No. And then we've got this battalion here, because they're shaken, it's going to be a 6, because again, not clear target. And shaken, no. And then these guys here, just the one shot on a 5. Well, actually, no, they are in close range actually there, so that would be back to a 4. Still, no difference. Okay, so we're back to the hand-to-hand combat. Right, so again, because the rifles won the last round, they're back to 4s. These are on 4s as well. So 6 dice. That's better than last time, so that's 3 hits. And then for the rifles, just the 1. Okay, so we do 1 save for the French on a 4 again, because there's no morale bonus now. No, so that is a casualty. And then for the 95th on 2s, yeah, they're fine. So once again, so it's 1 casualty for the French, plus 2 for their supports, so it makes it 3. Plus 2 for the cage rifles, so that makes that a 3 for the British and a 2 for the 2 supports of the French. So the French have lost. So again, they'll be testing. They are now shaken, but that doesn't really matter for the purposes of the break test. Just need that 7. And again, they get it. So they are shaken now. That does make them a little bit worse for next time. So we're over to turn 4 for the Allied British. So back to the slog over here. So the KGL will be firing at this unit here. Now because they're in close range, it's going to be 2 shots hitting on 3s. We're rolling 1 for sharpshooter. So there's 1 hit so far. Nope, no difference. And then a save of 3 again because they're in attack column. No, so that is a casualty on that unit. Okay, so a bit of casualty coming across. And again, back to the hand-to-hand. Right, so straight into it. So again, 2 dice hitting on 4s for the 95th because they won the last battle round. And again, that's 1 hit. And then the French really need something here. Now, because they're shaken, they will be hitting on 5s now. So this is starting to weaken this French attack now. So just the 1 for them as well. So I think they're going to lose out here again. Let's have a see. So KGL, the rifles, keep calling the KGL, need a 2+, which they do just make. And then the French need a 4, which they make. But, okay, so that's interesting. So that means that's a draw because there's no casualties on either side. They get their +2 bonus. These get their 2 support bonus. So that's actually a draw. However, because these are shaken, they will have to test anyway. So let's do that. And again, looking for that 7. No, so this time they're going to retire. So that means they're going to retire. Well, it's going to be at least 2 moves to get through these guys. And they will be disordered. Okay, so I'll just do that and then we'll head over to turn 5 for the French. Okay, so the French had a bit of an interesting turn 5 movement there. So you'll notice this brigade has got 1 unit less, so these were disordered anyway. So he ordered the commander ordered the 1st 54th to charge in, and they are now gone because they took a face full of cannon fire plus the closing fire from the 95th as well. They took casualties, they were disordered, they were shaken, and they broke. So, but you can only fire closing fire once. So the 1st 55th, taking the advantage, have charged in as well. So at least the French have got something in there, but this unit here is disordered, so they could move up in support. And then over this side, again, the 1st 17th managed to charge in, but they were disordered by closing fire. So no shooting, but we've got some hand-to-hand combat coming forward. Right, back to the stoic 95th, who've just been battering off the French for the last 4 turns. So let's see how they get on with this fresh regiment. So again, 6 dice, hitting on 3s because they've just charged in. Okay, there's still only 4 hits there, so okay, this is doable for the 95th. They've got 2 dice, but they've lost their combat bonus now, so they're back to 5s for the skirmishers. And they do make 1. Okay, so we've got 1 save of 3 for the French, which they do make, and then 4 saves of 2 for the 95th. And they're still hanging in there. So that morale bonus really does help when you're in the building. So again, no casualties, no supports, and they get their +2. So these, again, will be testing. So they need that 7 or more, which they do. So they're going to hold. But the 95th have won that combat. So the 95th really holding out against this French onslaught. Okay, so we'll move over to the King's German Legion. So let's see if this brigade can do any better. So this unit's be fighting. It is disordered, so they're going to be hitting on 4s because they were at 3s, back to 4s for disorder. That's a really good roll. Okay, that's 5 hits there. So let's see if this makes a difference now. Okay, so there's the 2 for the King's German Legion. Again, hitting on 5s. Okay, so they do make 2. This is going to be interesting. Okay, so let's see how the French do with their saves on 3s. That is 1 casualty. Let's see how the KGL do with their saves of 2. No, they make them all. So again, the French get 1 casualty. You get the +2 for being in the buildings. That's 3, and just the 2 supports. So again, the French lose. So 1 casualty. And disorders, that's -1 to the test. They're fine though, so they are staying in combat, but they do remain disordered. So we'll head over now to turn 5 for the Allied British. Okay, so we're rattling through this bloody hand-to-hand combat here now. So 95th Rifles, hitting on 4s, 2 dice. Nothing this turn, okay. Is this an opportunity for the French now? They're going to be hitting on 4s, or they've lost their morale bonus as well now because they are, after that initial charge, so they're going to be hitting on 4s. There's the 3. So just need the 2 saves though of 2+. There it is. There is a casualty. So, but they do get their morale bonus. So, unfortunately for the French, they still lose that that combat. But at least there's a casualty on the 95th. So let's just do the break test for the French. But they're fine anyway. Okay, so let's go over to the King's German Legion. Apologies, I just had a quick look back on the camera. Firstly, I said morale bonus. It's a combat resolution bonus, which is the 2 they get. So despite the 1 casualty on them, they still won the combat. But also notice that there was 3 hits from the French, so I missed 1 save for these. So just hope they don't roll another 1. No, okay, fine. Over to the KGL. So they won the last combat as well. So again, 2 dice hitting on 4s. No, okay. And then 6 dice, but because they're still disordered, they are going to be hitting on 5s. Disadvantage here. Just the 1. Let's see what happens now. Can the German Legion don't want that 1? No, so there's no casualties. So they get +2. They get +2 for their supports. So that is a drawn combat. Okay, because they're not shaken, that's fine. So just take that off. So right, okay, so that's the end of turn 5. So this is the last turn now. I think I mentioned in the intro there was going to be some sort of reinforcements, but I just thought I'd just keep it as this assault because it's been quite interesting to see if the French could batter through the defences here anyway. So, okay, so we're into the last round. This is the last turn, turn 6 for the French. Right, just one little bit of movement. This regiment here moved up in support here. So the French are ready. It's the last round. Let's see if they can actually break through and knock any of these Allied British out of the farm. Okay, so we'll start over this side. So with this regiment here, again, 6 dice. Now, it's a drawn combat last time, so there's no bonuses for whoever won. So these are going to be hitting on 5s, these are going to be hitting on 5s. So we'll do the French first, 6 attacks on 5s. Just the 1. I think this is going to be, I'm not sure this is going to be enough. Here's the KGL. Nothing for them. So just 1 save for the KGL, which they do make. So again, that's going to be a draw. So we'll head over to this combat here. Okay, difference on this one, the 95th did win that combat, so again 6 dice, hitting on 4s. Whoa, nothing at all. I think the steam has very much run out of this French attack. Okay, 2 dice on 4s. Yeah, 2 saves of 4 required. So that's a casualty, so they've lost, so let's do the morale check. 6, they will be retiring as well. Okay, so I'll just do that and we'll come back for the last turn for the Allied British. Okay, so now the 95th Artillery Battery have been freed up. They will be shooting across here, so the artillery will fire first. 2 dice sitting on 4s, sorry 3s because it's in thinning column. So that's 1 hit and save of 5 required, which they do make. And then we've got the 2 shots from the 95th. There'll be 1 reroll, that is a disorder. 2 hits, so that's 1 disorder onto them. This is the closest unit, and then 2 saves of 3. Yes, they do make that. Okay, so we're just over this hand-to-hand combat, and then we'll finish up. Right, so KGL, get 2 dice in on 5s. Nothing there, and 6 dice on 5s for the French. Okay, that is 3. And then saves of 2 for the King's German Legion. Yep, make them all. So that's, again, we've got a drawn situation. Okay, so that's the end of the game. So I'll just come back for a quick wrap up. Well, that was a fun little game. I hope you enjoyed watching that. Yeah, I mean, nice way to kind of christen the new battle mat, and always interested to see how these building rules play out, because I guess 2 small units against the whole division seem to hold out. So buildings are quite strong as defensive positions in black powder. I think for future, you know, if I had more time for a game, I'd probably spend more time softening up the buildings, perhaps with artillery fire, to try and at least get some casualties on the defenders. And also probably some larger, slightly larger brigade, maybe 4 battalion brigades to get that extra support, to get 3 supports in. But ultimately, it's a dice game, so things roll as they do. But the British and the German Legion really held out well there. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed that. And got more stuff coming down the pipe for battle reports and hobby updates. So catch you all very soon.